I'm going to jump right into the middle of this. We've got my heroine and her boyfriend, the vampire, in Golden Gate Park. And he's just drunk her blood, so they're working on to the next act. Let's see. Alondra swallowed. The sound seemed loud in the darkness. I tried my own blood this afternoon. How was it? She laughed. Not as gross as I expected, but it didn't give me any sense of what it's like to taste someone else's. It's not the blood that scares me. Well, not so much. It's the intimacy. It's not much more intimate than buying a loaf of bread, he countered. Did he believe that, or did he tell himself that to make the transaction okay? You've been doing it a long time, she pointed out. You've forgotten how it used to be. I haven't forgotten, he argued softly. But you won't have to do it alone like I did. I'll handle the negotiations until you're comfortable with them. Alondra reached out for him, wanting done with this conversation now, wanting the animal comfort of his body against hers. Jordan held her tight. Goosebumps shivered up over her in the wake of his kiss. Then he said, "When you're ready to taste someone else's blood, I'd be honored to offer mine." Alondra started to walk, and Jordan followed. The path took them up a gentle slope. The trees drew back enough for Alondra to see the fog again. It swirled over their heads as if stirred from above. If she waited, fear might choose for her. Could we do it here? Tonight, Jordan answered. Now? If that's what you want. I do. She rubbed her clammy fingers on her velvet skirt. The path crested. Across an asphalt road, an expanse of black water girded a shadowy hill. Alondra said, I want to make the cut myself. Will you guide my hand? He touched her face. I love you. She'd known that, but hearing him say the words for the first time made her throat tighten. She lunged up awkwardly to kiss him. He chuckled, but his lips melted against hers. The embrace was familiar, comforting. Even in the gloom, nothing about Jordan frightened her, not his proximity, not his hunger, not his love. Alondra hugged him, wanting physical reassurance she wasn't playing with fire. Jordan broke the kiss to promise, I'll take care of you, Alondra. I take care of myself, she reminded. That's why this is so hard. He wove his fingers between her, pulling her across the lake on a featureless concrete bridge. A path of soft dirt curved gently around the island, becoming stepping stones to cross a stream. The stones were too flat, too symmetrical to be natural. During the day, Jordan explained, this is a waterfall. They turn it off at sunset. It's man-made. The whole park is. It used to be sand dunes before they carted in topsoil. They built it around the same time as Central Park. Hand in hand, they strolled past an old-fashioned street lamp. Their shadows walked in front of them. Alondra liked the contrast of their silhouettes, his slim and cat-like in a tailored trench coat, hers enveloped in a too large motorcycle jacket and an ankle-length green velvet skirt. On the stone bridge, he waved toward a second bridge arcing across the lake. That would be lovely. When they reached it, Jordan slid out of his trench coat and spread it on the bridge. Then he laid down and stared up at the fog, head pillowed on hands. Alondra watched for a hint of the predator. To the best of her ability, all she could see was a terribly lonely old man in a young man's body. When she gazed at him with her second sight, his body burned a sensuous carmine, as red as her eyelids closed against the sun. Red was the color of the senses, of sex and fire and blood and the will to survive. Which of those explained Jordan? As Alondra knelt beside him, he sat up to pull a scalpel from his box. She took the knife, turned it over in her fingers, examining it. It was an antique, lovingly maintained. Its tortoise-shell handle fit into her palm. The blade glittered. Closed over hers on the knife, Jordan's hand was warm. Alondra felt herself resist as he pressed the scalpel down against the back of his left hand. It hurts less when you're decisive, he advised. Alondra willed herself to relax. The blade's tip sliced down the length of the big blue vein easier than an X-Acto knife through paper. Blood welled up, reddish-black in the half-light, and spilled a rivulet between his fingers. The rich, thick scent of blood hung in the humid air. To Alondra's surprise, her mouth watered. It will clot before too long, Jordan observed. She took his hand in hers and licked her dry lips. The blood ran over her fingers, leaving behind warmth reminiscent of clove oil as it soaked into her skin. Alondra was tempted to examine his blood in her second sight, but she could tell that it already flowed less vigorously. If she waited any longer, she'd have to cut him again. When her lips found the wound, Jordan sighed. Fighting her instincts, which screamed about poison, Alondra willed her tongue to explore the cut. Blood seeped into her mouth. Its flavor was as rich as broth, heavily salted and slightly sweet, and most unexpectedly familiar. Alondra's body rocked subtly, a minuscule sway governed by her heartbeat. For the first time since infancy, she felt the force of her blood rocketing through her veins. Above Jordan's hands, she watched the night pulse in time with her internal clock. She grasped how godlike Jordan must feel. This powerful engine inside her chest measured the river of time rushing past so quickly one could get vertigo just thinking about it. The immediate response to such a torrent was to freeze, captured like a deer on the motorway, and hope onrushing death would swerve in time. Like a soap bubble, the momentary fascination burst. Alondra realized she hadn't understood Jordan at all. He didn't foresee his own death. She'd been projecting her mortal frame of mind onto his immortality. She had no idea if he sensed the tolling of his heart. While she speculated, her heartbeat sank beneath the level of her awareness. She felt normal again. Had the merest taste of Jordan's blood caused that? He kissed his blood from her lips. I wasn't finished, Alondra whispered. And there's more, but we'll stop there. Thank you.